And so the idea is now that we try to make a connection of trends of finance and ecosystems. And in the beginning and also in the program you may see that Professor Henrikki Tikkanen would be the leader of this discussion, but as it happened so that he got ill and sent a message this morning that he can't come, but that's absolutely no problem because we have Jaakko Salminen, the CEO of Software Entrepreneurs Association, who have, I think, more deep knowledge on this thing than a marketing professor. I may be wrong. But so Jaakko will now take the charge of this discussion, and I will be the kind of, so please take your seat.
Thanks.
And I will hang around and be a stupid journalist that makes a kind of a sidekick that asks something every now and then. So if you don't tolerate it, Jaakko, so just say it.
Yeah, I will.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks. Yeah, it's always a little bit difficult to fill in for a professor, but I'll try to do my best. One of the things that in many of your presentations was touched upon a little bit, but I'd like to elaborate on is actually the fact that, as you said, 10 years ago, if you would have predicted that Asia is a dominant market, mobile usage is the thing that's mobile users are the dominant users in internet, things like that. That's the world we live in today. I was sort of wondering if we're trying to solve today's problems and missing the target that we have ahead in 2020 or even closer to that. And thinking that China, for example, has 485 million internet users, and most of them are mobile users. They are the dominant user base already. So what I was wondering is that if you talk about smart applications and smart systems and smart everything, how smart can these emerging markets be now or in 2020? And what's the opportunity there for us?
Okay. I trust everybody can hear me? All right. I think the opportunity is very big because fundamentally, and I think the word enablement has been used in a few different contexts here, enabling companies to grow, enabling consumers or businesses to have or deliver experiences. So the fact that there is a very kind of large, either partly untapped market or partly served but highly evolutionary market out there, I think is crucial to understand because what we're doing today, and I think I'm echoing Bertrand's words when I say that we're providing the different elements to enable them to, let's say, realize their potential. Either it's a social potential or it's an economic potential, as the case may be. And some of that relates to making sure that the people have access to devices. In other cases, it's that people have access to connectivity and thereby have access to information and have access to entertainment and so on and so forth. So I think one thing effectively becomes a part of a, rather than a vicious cycle where things are not present, it becomes part of a virtuous cycle of, let's say, co-creation, I guess.
Right. And Ulla mentioned that we probably need smart companies as well. I would suspect that you get smart companies from these emerging countries as well.
Absolutely. I think when you look at emerging markets, it's both companies from developed markets as well as individuals and companies from emerging markets that need to be innovative, because you know there's been a lot of very interesting literature produced around how the sort of world behemoths like Philips and General Electric and others have had to very fundamentally adapt their approach when they're dealing, for example, with Africa, because you can't sort of conceptualize of the person in Africa as having the same needs as your people in Germany or France or the UK. People have fundamentally different needs. So if you take the same product and take it to another market, an emerging market in particular, then it's likely to not work. Yes? So people have to fundamentally rethink their portfolio at one level, but it's also then about how you get to market, because maybe the right way to get to market is not to establish your own presence and open retail outlets and what have you, in a place which has a terrifically large landmass, but very sparsely populated. Maybe the model is very, very different. So all of the sort of elements of a business model need to be rethought.
Right. And that sort of leads me to the next question to Ulla. When you define your new strategy, it seems that you're guiding Tekes towards more of a sort of private investment and VC model where you judge the companies and their potential much closer and take risks, etc. How well do you feel Tekes is prepared to recognize companies that are able to take, exploit the opportunities in a world like this? Is that expertise is it going to be in Tekes or somewhere else?
Two things. First of all,
your mic is not on.
It was on. Okay, now it's on. We are trying to learn from what are the best practices outside the public funding, and in those areas where there are good models, we try to bring them in Tekes and adapt them to our need. The challenge is that neither private investors nor Tekes people, we can't tell ahead which company is going to make it and which company is not going to make it. It's all about balancing the kind of the investment portfolios. And I'm probably simplifying this to another extent, but I think Tekes is Finnish taxpayers' investment fund. We are investing Finnish taxpayers' money so that there's a better future to live in Finland, that we have successful companies and we have innovative products which can compete in the market and so forth. Our people, there are a couple of clever people here in the front row and in the back row. We are still only kind of coaches and partners. We don't have the answers, and we can't tell you what to do to succeed. But we can pose good questions, and we hope that you as entrepreneurs have the answers so that you do the decisions that you have to do.
I'd like to make one straight question to Ulla about what's the added value of Tekes from the Finnish taxpayers' point of view, because as we all know, there was a big discussion before elections, so that almost all the parties said that you should take away all those grants and loans and public support that's given to the young companies or to the companies, and that the money should be given straight away in an easier way on tax reliefs. And that seemed to be so common view from every political party, so that now it's just seemed that we have a problem there, that because we are going downturn on economics. So if we are cutting, because giving grants is actually, Tekes is 550 million, so that's the 80% of everything, I think. So we are talking about the main man. So how do you, what is your added value at this moment, and what should we do?
Basically, Finland is very short of private capital. And that private capital should be combined now with public money. If there was enough private money in Finland, we wouldn't need Tekes. But in our sister countries, like in Sweden, Denmark, Holland, even in the US, the government's investment in innovation funding by percentage of the GDP is greater than in Finland.
It's of course a good example, but still I think it's a similar question, like they used to say that the states can't go to bankruptcy, so that you can always buy state loans. And then now we see that that was a lie. So in some way, for example, Etla has said that for 15 years the banking system Okay, now it's different. But for the last 15 years, banking system has been so working that we are in a lack of ideas, not lack of capital, so that it may be even a personal tragedy that so many losers get money for their ideas, so they are not good enough to be entrepreneurs.
Coming back to your original question, the tax that you can deduct your R&D expenditure to a certain extent from your taxes, that's a good idea because it makes the process easy for small and medium-sized companies. But still, I think we need TEKES for funding those projects where there is more risk and there's more collaboration and there is more international involvement and where the project cannot be completed with such speed or with such resources without some additional boost. And this has been also discussed in the public that several of our customers have said, including some of those Deloitte Fast 50 growers, that their development projects would never have been able to succeed if without TEKES money in such speed and such variety and such scope. So our money is an addition to the company's own investment and project budget, where they can do it faster and quicker and with more professional resources.
Yeah. Ulla referred to the Deloitte study that said that had the list of the 50 biggest growth companies in Finland, and TEKES had funded 43 of them. So I must admit that the focus is somewhat right. So please continue.
Sure. Coming back to the emerging markets, it seems to me that Nokia has quite a bit of potential there. Your presence in emerging markets is already quite good. But I was sort of wondering if it's a different kind of ecosystem that you need in the emerging markets compared with the ecosystems that are in place right now for smartphones, for example.
Right.
Because the platforms are different, the price ranges are different, their uses are different, and probably also the companies in the emerging markets themselves are different, which would participate in the ecosystems themselves.
You're probably right. I think there's a big possibility that the ecosystem there run independently from the rest of the world. There's another thing, they have scale. I mean, within just China, they have enough people, enough market, domestic market, to create their own ecosystem. So yeah, we probably in the next 10 years we'll see if the American ecosystems do come into these countries, or is it going to happen from inside? This is a big challenge for us, not just for Nokia, but for the industry. But yeah, the price band is very different, and they also can copy and do quite great things very fast. So yeah, it's very challenging. We still believe that the amount of investment and differentiator that we have will fuel innovation here or there, and probably the Chinese entrepreneurs also want to be in USA and in Europe, and in this respect they need to be in the let's say Western ecosystems. And that might be a way also to bring the ecosystem back there.
Do you think that's one of the ways Nokia will make sure that it becomes more of a Nokia ecosystem rather than a Microsoft ecosystem?
Well, we're not fighting against being a Microsoft ecosystem. On the contrary, we want Microsoft's ecosystem, including the other OEMs, so the Samsung and LG that are working on the different OS, to be successful. We want to differentiate our ecosystem with the others, and of course we need to differentiate our devices from the others. But we believe that the momentum and the cooperation that we have with Microsoft is already so different that it is a bit our ecosystem, and we are together to win in this direction.
Could you please explain a little more, because from just being outsider of this, so to me it seems that if you have a Microsoft's ecosystem, then it's Microsoft's.
Yes.
So that it's then if you just want to paint Nokia on it, so that's an that's like a different.
Yeah,
to
you're
put
right.
it bluntly, but so explain why it's Nokia's ecosystem.
So, well, we have an agreement with Microsoft where we provide a certain number of our assets that will improve their OS or improve their offering and also improve our offering. So we were talking about Navtec and the maps, and all the different elements that we're building are going to be deeply integrated into the Windows Phone OS. So we will get that in return. There's monetization beside that. We have a head start for different kinds of R&D project that we have with them, and will probably lead us to be the leader of this ecosystem. And in that respect, we can provide to the different players of the ecosystem some SDKs and some ideas and some insight as to what is going to happen. What is going to happen. So we also work with Microsoft on the lower layers of the phones to bring the whole device price down. It is very much a joint effort. You can't have an OS. You can't easily drop the price of an OS that has been designed for some kind of chipsets which are very expensive. So this is also something we're working on with Microsoft. So there's a lot of different things. So on the hardware side, on the medium side, so on the enablers that we've been talking about, which are very mobile targeted, and also on the service side. So I talked about maps, but we also have some music elements, some video elements, and all kind of different services that we put on top of the OS.
Okay. So what about you? Would you like to ask something? Yeah, here's one.
Do you have any good example of a Chinese radical product innovation? I don't know any, but perhaps one of you might. And if you don't know, can you explain why not?
I think the compass and the noodles were originally.
Compass and the noodles. Any other ones? But the question is good, so that don't we just understand when we find good product innovation?
I need to explain my initial reaction a little bit. This probably has to do with the different trends in societies when they are in their peak and when they decline. The Chinese society was on its peak about 1,000 years ago when we were still living in caves here in Europe. Then during that era, all the inventions were made in China. Then the focus moved to Egypt, and then it moved to Western countries and now out to Silicon Valley, to exaggerate a little bit. The trend is reversing. We are going to decline unless we do something radical in the Western world. And they are rising again. How much they invest in education and innovation, public services at the moment. At the moment, there are probably very few Chinese products which are on the top of their category in Europe. But wait another 10 years. The Koreans, they are already on the top. Refrigerators, mobile phones, cars, they started by copying. And at the moment, they have the technology to invent new things. And they do it fast.
Not a single one.
No.
What do you mean?
We'll see.
We'll see.
Any others? So everybody, yes, this one.
It's just a comment to the French Nokia guy. I would very much be intrigued to hear a presentation without the word ecosystem a single time.
So I was asked to talk about the ecosystem, so you'll probably have other presentations.
Okay, so it seems to me that everybody's hungry for coffee at the moment, so it seems, and to me it was maybe a bit too wide to try to find the connection between ecosystems, trends and financing together. But so We did our best, and we'll meet again at 3 o'clock sharp here, and then we have some other stories. So thank you very much.